For years, this small car sat quietly in a forgotten corner of a scrapyard. Surrounded by piles of rusted metal and broken machines, a once beloved Volkswagen Beetle waited in silence. Its white paint had faded beneath the sun, dust and dirt covered its body, and the racing number on the hood, 53, was barely visible after decades of neglect. To most people walking through the scrapyard, it looked like just another abandoned vehicle, another machine that had reached the end of its journey. But sometimes, even the most forgotten things still carry a story worth saving. When the restoration team arrived at the dump site that day, they passed rows of rusted vehicles, bent frames, cracked windows, engines that would never run again. Then something caught their attention. Between two piles of scrap metal, a familiar rounded shape appeared. Even covered in dust, it was unmistakable. A beetle. Curious, the team stepped closer. One of them wiped the dirt from the hood, and slowly a number appeared beneath the dust. 53. At that moment, they knew this wasn't just another old car. This little beetle had once been something special. But time had not been kind. Rust had spread across the body panels. The headlights were cracked and dull. The chrome trim had lost its shine. Inside, the interior was worn and dusty. The seats were torn. The dashboard was faded. And in the rear of the car, the small air-cooled engine sat silent. It hadn't moved in years. Most people would have left it there. After all, scrapyards are full of cars that will never return to the road. But this team saw something different. They didn't see scrap, they saw potential. So the rescue began. The team cleared debris from around the car and slowly pulled it free from the scrapyard. For the first time in many years, its wheels began to move again. Soon the Beetle arrived at the restoration workshop. Years of dirt were washed away as water streamed down the curved body panels. Little by little, the original white paint began to reappear, and beneath the grime, the familiar racing stripes slowly returned. But cleaning was only the beginning. The engine was carefully removed and rebuilt piece by piece. Inside the cabin, the worn interior was stripped away. Old seats were replaced, the dashboard was restored. Chrome trim was polished until it shined again. Meanwhile, rust was removed from the body and damaged panels were repaired. Then finally, the transformation reached its most important moment. The paint booth. Fresh white paint covered the car, restoring its classic look. Then the final details returned. The bold racing stripes. Red, white, blue, and the number that made the car instantly recognizable. 53. When the work was finished, the little Beetle looked completely different. No longer forgotten, no longer abandoned, but alive again. Then came the final moment, the engine start. The key turned, and after a brief silence, the engine came to life. A sound that hadn't been heard in years. The Beetle slowly rolled forward out of the workshop and into the sunlight. From forgotten scrap to a shining classic once again. A reminder that sometimes the greatest stories aren't about the newest machines, but about the ones people almost forgot. Because sometimes, all it takes to change the ending of a story is someone willing to give it another chance.